Bonjour, everybody. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Radio Network, and you are watching Star Nations Communications from Home. It's a weekly show that I do every Tuesday night, and I usually am talking to someone, a guest, and they're usually somebody of our show hosts or our contributing writers to the magazine, and or local teachers that I know. So we always have fun on Tuesday nights, and tonight is no different. Tonight, just in case you guys didn't know it, it's January 23rd, all day long. January 23rd, Tuesday. And we here in Tomah, Wisconsin, we actually had snow yesterday. We haven't seen much snow at all this year. And so everybody was just kind of, yay, snowing, it's snowing. Yeah, wait till next month, and everybody's going to be saying, "Where's spring?" Right? And it was warm. It was 35 degrees. That's almost like summer. And so I even saw people running around without jackets on yesterday, and it's like, oh my goodness. At least I didn't see anybody with shorts on. That'll happen when it starts hitting 40 degrees. So anyway, welcome to the show, and hi everybody in the live chat, and those people who will be watching the show by the recorded video. Hi, and thank you so much for joining us. What we're going to be doing tonight, right away, before I forget, because sometimes I forget to do this, is that if you wouldn't mind liking and sharing the show. Why do we do that? Two reasons. One is that to remind our friends that, oh yeah, we were going to watch that show tonight. And the other one, everybody's talking about Facebook's, what do they call that? The numbers, and how they find you. And it used to be all you had to do was like it, put a comment in there and share it, and it was good to go. Now you definitely have to share, and you definitely have to make a comment, and then you cross your fingers. That some people were actually going to see it. So anyway, if you wouldn't mind doing that, because I'm going to do it too. I have my phone right here, and I'm going to get the show up on my iPhone, and I'm going to find the live show. Here we are. There's the live show. I'm going to like it, and then I'm going to share it. And I'm sharing it to the Star Nations Radio Network closed group. And we're just going to remind everybody over there that we're live tonight. Yeah. And it just takes a second. And I'm just going to say, I'm live streaming. Live streaming. Oops, not living. Got to learn how to spell. Okay, and then I'll ask them to join us. Here we go, and then I'm going to post it. There. Yeah, I used to just do it to my timeline, because I share a lot of things publicly through my timeline as well. But I realized that with the network closed group, sometimes not everybody sees that part on my timeline. So I thought I'd better start sharing it to the closed group, because that's the closed group is got over, I think it's 1,000 people. That's that's our community, and that are those people in that closed group. They're the ones who follow all of our shows and classes, and that's where the community basically hangs out. And so I just wanted to make sure that we let them know, to remind them. And I'm just going to check on something quick and see if they'll give me the total, because sometimes they don't give you all the information on your phone because it's mobile. And it doesn't. Dang. Okay. So anyway, tonight is, I've been looking forward to this, because as soon as I started, posting the pictures and getting the show prepped for tonight, I kept reflecting on a couple of things about my guest. And one of them is that she's a person who means a great deal to me. She's a sister of my heart. We call each other sisters. There's 6 of us in this small group, and she's one of them. And she's always been there to help me and to support me. And so when she does something kind of cool, I want to make sure I'm there for her too. And she is doing something kind of cool for us. And that is that has started a monthly column. It's a new column called Nourishing Body and Soul. And I love that title. But I want to tell you a little bit about her before we bring her on, okay? And this is Sharon Rosenblum, and she actually lives here in Wisconsin, but she lives way on the other side of the state from me. We live about 3.5 hours apart. I live on the west side, and she lives on the east side. She's over by Lake Michigan. But Sharon is interested in the healing arts and always has been almost her entire adult life. She was actually in the Air Force. A lot of people don't know that about her. She was actually in the Air Force as a medic during the Vietnam War. And she worked as a medical crew member and an instructor on an medical airlift evacuations for 4 years. That's hard to say. I'm going to say that again. Medical airlift evacuations. And she did that for 14 years. While attending nursing school, she felt that there was more to healing than the traditional allopathic medicine that offered. And so she started exploring lots of different kinds of approaches to healing. And so that means that she holds a lot of different certificates and degrees in different ways of healing. And so she is a certified practitioner of Ayurveda techniques of Maya abdominal therapies. And let me tell you that massage is huge for a lot of women. She's licensed as an educational kinesiology instructor and a consultant for that. She's a feng shui and space clearing practitioner. She's a flower essence practitioner. She also does Karuna Reiki as a practitioner. She knows about Qigong and also the touch for health. Now, all of that important studying is built on a layer because she's also an empath. And so that helps in her practice, but it also helps in her writing. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Let's see. She's able to access the Akashic records and provide insights that many come through and are relevant to the healing that she does for people. And so I'm going to bring her on. There's another thing that you need to know about her. She's also very helpful with the magazine, Star Nations magazine. She's one of the assistant copy editors. And let me tell you, she has helped me a great deal in my writing for it to evolve since we started working together. And so I'm very thankful for that too. But I'm going to bring her on. And we're going to bring Sharon. Say hi to Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Neshi. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, it's almost getting, I think this is the second time or third time you've been on the show with me.
Second time.
On this particular show. But
right.
You've also helped us with Spirit of Color.
Yes.
You've been on that show a couple of times too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's just two girlfriends talking, right? It is. I just wanted everybody to know that the bio that I shared with everybody comes right out of the magazine, and you can read her bio word for word if you'd like out of the magazine, and it's available in print on demand and also digital, PDF and web viewer. So I'm excited because you just had your very, very first article, your monthly article under the new column, Nourishing Body and Soul. Yeah. Now, first of all, I want to thank you for planting the seed. You planted that seed months ago. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
You don't. We were talking, and we were talking about writing. And you said that you were actually doing more writing. Mm-hmm. Not recent. I don't want to say like it was just recently, but in the recently, like in the last year or two, that you actually starting yourself writing more. Right. And then you started writing for Star Nations under the Health and Healing column, and that was every other month. And then I went, Sharon, I need help. I need somebody to write something about one of the Jewish holidays. And I was asked you if you were able to do that for us. And thank goodness you said yes. And Okay, so then we fast forward a little bit, and we were just chatting about those past articles and the health and healing ones, and you said something to me about, if it ever happens that you need somebody to write about food and recipes and nutrition and that kind of thing, I would love to do that. You don't remember that?
I really don't, but that's okay.
That's okay. Well, I did. I remembered it. I took that away, and then when we had that change come up in Star Nation magazine, and I needed somebody to write about food, you were the first person I texted. Crossing my fingers that you were still available and you still wanted to do it. So I don't know. I don't know if you felt excited about it as much as I did, but I certainly was.
I was. It was like, oh, wow, gee, this is a great opportunity, something that I like, and I can go ahead and promote, some of the health and healing aspects with nutrition. And hence, that was how I came up with the title of Nourishing or Nourishment. And it was like, yeah, it's got to be more than just nourishing the body. Oh, nourishing body and soul. So yeah, it was perfect. Perfect timing.
And what else is perfect about it is its length. Not many people think about that, but when you're trying to fit things, titles of things in, like on the cover, or even on the masthead, those kind of things come into play. And so, you to have it short, succinct, and to the point is perfect. And so, okay, so that's how you kind of got to the title, Nourishing Body and Soul. Now, chances are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a little spiritual help with that.
Maybe.
Do you want to share anything about that?
Well, so likewise with the editing, almost everything that I do, I allow myself to sort of go to the quiet space. I call the stillness or the space between. It's just sort of my Zen zone even. And that's when I get really quiet and I quiet my mind, and then I can hear spirit more clearly. My guides, and they just kind of start popping in. And true. I get a whisper. It's a whisper, it's about nourishment. You have to nourish the soul. That's what you do, that's what you've done all your life. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of how that came through.
Well, it certainly fits. That's for sure. We have a couple people in the chat room we want to say hi to. I want to move our names over so we can bring this up a little bit.
Hi, Meg.
There's Rob Kendall's there. Yeah, and spelling is overrated.
Oh, yes.
That's what I was trying to.
Unless you're talking to me.
Well, she also is also an editor, so spelling does mean something to Sharon. But I think Rob was talking about when I was trying to share to the group, because I just kept misspelling a word there, and it was like I was stuck on the wrong word. And then Judy is with us too. Hi, Judy. Hi, you amazing ladies. Right back at you, Judy. I'm so glad you're with us. Thank you. And also Meg is here. Hey, Meg.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah. So I've got a picture of your article I want to bring up.
Okay.
And I showed this when I was talking about the magazine when we first published on January 10th. And we were kind of talking about your article, and I kind of told the backstory to it. But I want to show the cover, and then we'll talk about the backstory to your title. So I'm going to give it's solo here so everybody can see it. And Brunch Anyone was Sharon's very first, her premiere article under the new column, Nourishing Body and Soul. And that is a picture of Sharon's kitchen, her real kitchen, where she does all the cooking and baking and all of that. And Sharon, do you want to? Now, I asked you to take a couple pictures of your kitchen for me. You were a photographer. Want to tell us some stuff about your kitchen, because it's beautiful.
Boy, this kitchen never looked like that before. Our home is 80 years old, and it used to have a butler's pantry and a very small maid's kitchen. There was even a foot button in the dining room to let the maid know that it was time for the next service to come through.
That's cool.
But it was in 1960, somebody else got the house, and they went ahead and they painted everything black. That window that you see straight ahead, not the one off to the side, but the one that was straight ahead, they covered over and put cabinets there.
Oh.
And it made the room so dark because there was only the windows over the sink. So we remodeled. We took this down to studs and remodeled. We added the island. We changed things all around. Mm-hmm. The backsplash is my favorite part. It's recycled tiles that I flew out to San Francisco to order the tile in the specific colors that I wanted. I really like blues. That's my favorite color. So there's a lot of cobalt blue in that pattern, but it's also a historical pattern from that particular area, the Southern California area. So there's a lot of Spanish influence. So normally that might have been done in orange and reds and yellows, but I altered the colors and specifically ordered it a certain way.
Yeah.
It's just people that come into the house who've been in the house before, and they are shocked. They are amazed. They just go, oh my gosh, it's so much bigger. It's so much brighter, and it has obviously all the conveniences that I need from my love of cooking.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just to take the butler's pantry and the smaller, what'd you call it? The
maid's kitchen.
The maid's kitchen. Yeah. Take that square footage and add it to that open space. I would imagine you still have some before pictures.
I do. And I will say that actually these cabinets, I had these cabinets designed after the original cabinets because we went to the village and found the original blueprints, and they had all of the carpentry details. So there are these support pieces that are underneath the cabinets that had been removed, and metal cabinets have been put in. But as we recreated these basic wood cabinets, we reintroduced and had those support bars added back in. So it actually, I call it transitional in terms of its design. It's not truly contemporary, but part of it is because of how we try to keep all of those pieces true to the house, so that we were restoring it as opposed to
renovating,
totally making it modern.
Yeah, I get that. Well, it turned out gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I can't wait. One day I'm going to see it in person.
Yeah, anytime. Come on down.
Come on over. We'll have tea and scones.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. So speaking of scones, just speaking of them, I was going to ask you about, I know when we were talking about your new column early on, and we were talking about the kind of recipes that you were going to use in your column. And you had told me that you really wanted to be able to focus in on gluten-free. And could you tell us the reason why, and why is that important to you?
Well, personally, because I have digestive issues. And it's evolved over time, not knowing exactly what the issue was, but it has gotten worse you might say as I've aged, but it's not really as much about my aging as much as it is about how our food sources have changed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm lactose intolerant, so I have to drink skim milk, but I prefer almond or rice milk. Soy, that upsets my digestive system as well. But as things have evolved, it's like, oh my gosh, why am I so crampy, gastrointestinally, and actually, pardon me, but, I get the runs a lot, and it'll be within 20 minutes to half an hour after eating food. So I started to fiddle with it. And if I cut out breads, crackers, muffins, anything that is made with wheat flour, I would do a whole lot better. So then I started looking into that, and recently an MIT/Harvard University researcher looked into the way that wheat is grown and harvested, and apparently they're using Roundup. Yes. They spray the fields with Roundup to get it to separate from the wheat stalks. And Monsanto, the makers of Roundup, said that it doesn't affect human beings. However, she has done research that has proven that it does actually get into your gut, and it changes the bacteria in your gut. There's good bacteria, there's bad bacteria, and it neutralizes that good bacteria so that it is no longer able to properly process gluten. And that's what so many of us are running into. We don't have a true gluten allergy, which would be Crohn's disease. I mean, that is deadly. You cannot have a bite of any gluten if you have Crohn's disease. However, the sensitivity will go ahead and present with like irritable bowel syndrome or, gassiness, cramping, any number of things. So because that is becoming so huge in our society, I felt that it was really important from my perspective to offer some alternatives and to show people how you can take a regular recipe and switch it around so that you can make it gluten-free and therefore digestible by anyone.
Yes. Yay! Because we can get prepackaged food that's gluten-free, the mixes and that kind of thing. But I've used them. Don't get me wrong, I have used them. But it seems to me that there's also a problem with using prepackaged gluten-free food.
Well, most of those will focus on using a combination of different flours, such as fava bean, rice flour, and a whole bunch of other things. And so there's another concept out there called FODMAP, and it has to do with fermented foods, and fava beans comes under that heading, and it will cause similar issues as what gluten does. So sometimes those prepackaged gluten-free flours will have a number of ingredients in them that may not work for someone's system if it's already been sensitized via gluten.
Right. Because technically I'm lactose intolerant as well, although my tolerance level isn't as touchy as my mom's, for instance. I can I love having cream in my coffee. Okay. So I do a small amount of dairy. I do. Not very much. And I don't tolerate the soy like you very well. I can use it, but not for long periods of time. Right. The one that doesn't bother me at all is almond, and it also depends on the where you get it from too, and what company. So I was so happy to hear you say that you were going to help us figure out how to change a recipe or give us the recipes where you've already made the change, right? And so that is, I couldn't wait because it's hard enough when you're not very adept in the kitchen to begin with.
I think you do very well.
I don't know. Now, listen, audience, when Sharon was here at my house in October, We sat down, the five of us, and we're trying to figure out meals because there's a lot of dietary issues that we have to take into consideration, including my mom's. Mm-hmm. And so we sat around my dining room table and we're working on this. And Sharon she just calmly said, "Okay, I think I can handle this, ladies." And then she just said, "Okay, this is what we're going to do." And she laid it out and she took over. She was the head chef. You had a couple of sous chefs, and you had the cleanup people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was fun. It was fun, and to watch and to learn from you firsthand. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of good little tricks there, and they're not that hard to do. Using cornstarch or arrowroot to thicken preparations instead of using flour. I mean, you just don't think about that, and actually, they both work very, very well and make lovely gravies and sauces and all kinds of things. So yeah.
And yes, audience, I have arrowroot. I've had that in my cupboard for years. I don't use it quite as well as Sharon does, but it was there for her to use.
Well, for that gravy we made.
Oh my God, that was great though. It really was good. All right, so I have the scone picture up. Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a little bit about the scones and how did you get that recipe?
Well, I follow a number of people online, and I have a lot of cookbooks. So it's kind of a combination of a bunch of different recipes. And this one is made with almond flour. I like it because it stays moist. And this particular one is lemon blueberry. So I use lemon zest, dried blueberries, but I'm also kind of a chocoholic personally.
Don't say anything.
Those are dark chocolate chips, so they're like 60% or more cacao, and they're not milk chocolate because I can't do the milk chocolate. Right. But it gives them a little bit of a crunch because I keep them refrigerated, and the blueberries have a really nice flavor to them. And again, I don't really like dried out scones. That's the only way to put it. So I prefer these. Now, this is like half the recipe that you see on this plate. Mm-hmm. The recipe that I put in with the article will yield I divide it into 2 patties and pat them down on a cookie sheet, and then I cut them into wedges. Now, over in Europe, they'll make round ones. I mean, you could go ahead and use a cookie cutter and make round scones if you're attached to those. Right. But to me, they're just yummy. And our daughter, we recently had a baby shower, and there were a couple of people who were gluten-free, and we did it at a tea house. So I brought a whole stash of stuff that was gluten-free. And next thing I know, everybody's like, "Oh, those look really good. Can I have some? What's the recipe? Will you share the recipe with me?" So, now, I want to point out that what's good about this recipe is this is lemon blueberry, but you could do orange zest with cranberries.
That would be good.
Examples. Or you could do just chocolate chip.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have built into the same recipe. So if you did just chocolate chip, you would double the number of the portion of chocolate chips. Whereas if it's orange and cranberry, then you would go ahead and you can still put chocolate chips in there if you want, or double the cranberry amount. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I did was I separated it, cut it in half. But there you've got 3 recipes right away. They can go for different times of the year and be yummy all year round.
Mm-hmm. I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to though. Carla Jo's in the house. She says, "Good evening, Sharon and Neshi." Hi, Carla Jo. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And then Judy has something to say. She says, "They look really good. Been watching them and making me hungry." LOL. I know they look really good, and the thing is that they're actually good for it's whole food. It's real food.
Right, exactly. There's no preservatives. I keep them, usually we'll freeze half of them, and the others I keep in the refrigerator because they go so fast that,
Yeah. Now, over in Europe, especially in Ireland, they would have scones every day
Oh, yes.
What they do is they serve it with clotted cream.
Oh, yes. Or lemon curd.
Yeah. And, even though I can't have the dairy very much, I would still take at least a couple of bites of it, because it is so good. Now, is there a way to be able to do something like a clotted cream that isn't dairy?
Well, I think you could do a goat's milk clotted cream. That would be a way to do it. And for a lot of people, goat's milk is better for them than cow's milk. And again, you have to look at the cows. I know that they're finally producing milk that is not hormone. The cows, they're not feeding them the hormones. And so that was a big thing as well. But the goat's milk seems to be closer to what our digestive systems are able to handle. And so likewise, goat's cheese is easier on our guts as well.
Yeah.
But that's something, if you like, I can look into that.
Yeah. Well, goat's milk or milk or cheese is an acquired taste too. It's a little strong, but you could always put vanilla or something in there, I suppose. All right. So listen to me. Like I'm talking like I know. It's a little vanilla in there. Don't listen to me about kitchen stuff, really. I mean, what I know, I've my mom was really good at teaching me, and she still tells me this. She says, I can tell when you're happy and when you really want to cook, because the meals turn out really, really well. I can tell when you're in a hurry,
Yes.
And it's true. It's true.
Yes, absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there was, I also want to show people, let's see, let me find this other picture in here. Yep, that was the last one. I wanted to show the picture of the cover. The cover. Because one of the things I love about this show is that when I'm talking to the radio show hosts, and especially the writers, we're sharing stuff with you guys that most people don't know about. You get a little peek behind the curtain, so to speak. You get to hear some of the backstory to some of the things that have happened and the things that just make us laugh like you wouldn't believe. So, gorgeous cover. I love the eagles, right? You get a mature bald eagle and an immature bald eagle, the spotted eagle, and just, the kind, you can kind of see their movement and, what they're doing, right? So you have to recall the title of Sharon's article, Brunch Anyone ? Right? So I was selecting titles for the cover, and I've been doing this since the beginning, right? So, and whenever we start a new writer or we have a featured writer, their article title goes on the cover of their month that they're writing that article. And so I knew I was going to be putting Sharon's title of her article on the cover. It was a no-brainer for me. All right, I like that one. And so I took all the raw materials, the image of the eagles, the list of the titles going on the cover, all the details that Elm specialists were going to use for the layout of the cover. And Angie got it done, and she sent it to me. And she goes, I think you're really going to like this cover. It really looks great. And so I couldn't wait to look at it. It was the draft copy. So I opened it up, PDF, and I got it full screen. And I'm looking, and I thought, oh no, oh my God. And then I just started laughing. All right, now audience, I'm going to give the cover its solo here so you can really look at it. Okay, so just above and to the left of the mature eagle, the bald eagle, the white head, I originally had Sharon's title up to on top and to the left of it. So Brunch Anyone ? Right? But if you look really close at the picture, you'll see what they have there is some sort of meal that they were having because there's blood on the snow. And I was like, I thought, oh my, I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard. I had tears and my stomach hurt, and Paul was asking, he thought I was crying. He said, well, are you okay? It's like, I'm fine. And I could hardly even spit it out. I was laughing so hard. And so I sent it back to Ange with some comments saying, we need to move this or take it off. And I said, and I think we should remove it. And she, it's back. Why? This is a perfect title, and it's like, I'll do it. But because you also have to know that she's my sister-in-law. That's Paul's older sister. And so she's going, okay, but why? And I said, well, look at the eagles and then look at the title. And then she responds back, oh, I see. And so, I don't know how many people who read the magazine are vegan or even vegetarian, and
right.
have something like that on the cover. I mean, how off-putting would that be? But I tell you what, audience, I laughed so hard. And then I shared the story with Sharon and the draft copy of the magazine. And so when you saw it, what did you think? What did you
I cracked up. I went, oh my gosh! This isn't what I had in mind with brunch anyway.
Oh, Lord. It's just one of those things that you don't really think about until you see, because what do they say? Pictures tell, it's worth 1,000 words, right? And I'm looking at this and looking at that time. I thought, oh my God, I do that. So we changed it.
Yeah.
Changed it. And I think it still turned out well. But Sharon, and I've told you this, your article title for February will appear on the cover.
I hope it goes better.
Well, I've got because we started working on the February issue. Mm-hmm. And so I have been searching for images for the February issue. So I've got a couple selected, and that was a few days ago. So I need to go back and take a look at them and see what Spirit has to say about those. Right. And that sort of thing. So let's see. We've got a couple comments here in the chat. Rob, what's Rob saying? Greek pizza is good. It uses feta instead of mozzarella. That's true. Mm-hmm. That is good. It really is. And I like feta cheese on my salads. Mm-hmm. And Judy, oh yeah, Rob, I'm part Greek, but wasn't raised that way. But since I've tried feta cheese, way more flavor. Love it. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I like to have mine in my salad.
Yes.
Yeah. Carla Joe, that would have been perfect. And Carla Joe is one of our contributing writers as well. So I'm so glad you're in the house, Carla Joe, watching the show. And so just so we can introduce Sharon to everybody. People here at Star Nations, we already know Sharon because Sharon also helps all of us, a good portion of us, I should say, with our articles and the editing of them. And we want to thank you for that, too.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Like a little preview every month.
That's true. And I know that we're not here to talk about your editing stuff that you do, but I want to add just a little bit in here because I think it's important. Is Sharon started editing for us, I think it's been 3 years, I think, hasn't it?
Just about, yeah.
3 years. And had been editing for me, I think, a little bit previous to that, a few things. And so personally, it really has helped me with my writing. I think I've evolved since I first started writing for the magazine, and yeah, and it comes a lot easier. I'm not saying it's perfect because obviously I still need an editor. So, and the thing is that after a while, you've looked at it so many times, you don't see
exactly,
the issues and the problems. And so to have fresh eyes look at it. And so Sharon's really, really good at that. And what I'm leading up to Sharon is the feathering quill.
Oh, okay. which is my business, my editing business. And I just started that, maybe 6 months ago, I think. I realized that I was being asked to edit more than just for Star Nations, which I had been doing anyway, but it was, I do didactic editing for publications, people who are writing for medical journals or educational journals. I've also done, help people out with their master's thesis and PhD dissertations. I have a degree in creative writing as well as English, and I used to be a high school English teacher, which was how that all got started. And I've also, there's just so many pieces to it. I like to look at how people think about things and show them another way of looking at a way to express what they're really thinking, feeling, sensing, whatever. And so, the empath comes into that too, because, I can really connect to the other author's words. I end up hearing their voice as I read, so that it's, and I get visuals of what they're thinking, and that's how I'm able to go ahead and have a different perspective in terms of helping to pull out exactly what each author is trying to express.
Right. And the thing is that, especially when it's an article that is, it's just not information, but it's your life experiences, and your belief system is kind of woven into that as well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't express ourselves the way that we think we have, or as clearly as we could. And so it's somebody who's like Sharon who can come in and say, I think that it would read better and more understandable if you said it this way. And what I love about it is that you keep our voice there. Mm-hmm. And so thank you for that.
That's the important part.
Feathering well. So if somebody was looking for you to do some editing for them, where would they find you?
Well, of course, I'm through Star Nations magazine. I have a really probably weird email address. It's Makawao Rose, because I used to live in Hawaii, and Makawao is a town in Hawaii that I love. It's where all the artists are. So makawaorose@gmail.com. MAKAWAOROSE. Rose.
Rose. I want to make sure at
Gmail.
Spell it back to you, okay? MAKAWAROSE. WAO. Okay.
And then, of course, you can messenger me at the Feathering Quill.
Right. I'm going to put that in there too. And
because I do have a Facebook page.
Okay, there is the Gmail account, and then Facebook. And that is the Feathering Quill.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you have anything that you are working on, and you need a fresh set of eyes and professional editing, you can always get a hold of Sharon. And you know what? People are still talking about the Greek cheese.
That's okay. That's okay. I'd just like to add that I also do books. I've done several children's books and a couple of other informational self-help books as well. So I'm also open to doing that. Because I realized I made it sound like I do just educational stuff in a way.
Yeah. No, but you've edited 2 books for us, for Star Nations Publishing, and we have a third one in the hopper. We haven't quite started that one, but we have a third one coming up for True and Franklin, and so, and I know that you also do other people too, not just Star Nations. You've done other people's books too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we have Sonia just showed up too. Hi, Sonia. Glad you could stop by.
Hi.
Yeah. And be in the house with us, be in the live chat. So, Sharon, is there anything else you'd like our audience to know before we say goodnight?
Well, just to stay tuned. I will be doing all sorts of recipes from across the board. The one for February is not a gluten-free, but it's not gluten-full either. It's a protein dish, and I'm not going to give it away because it's kind of a little bit of a surprise. However, I'm looking forward to looking at or going through all of the different months and finding things for like St. Patrick's Day or for Easter or whatever that we can go ahead and twist and make them into something that's a healthy supplement, or not supplement, but a healthy dessert or whatever.
You know, and if people are interested in recipes, in almost every featured article that you have written for the Jewish holidays, you've included recipes for different dishes that go with that particular holiday.
Right.
And also in the health and healing section of the magazine, articles that Sharon has written, she's almost all of them have a recipe, I think. Not 100%, but I'd say about 80% of the articles that she's written has a recipe that goes with it.
Well, food is important to all of those aspects. You know, to the Jewish faith, food is incredibly important. It's about all their celebrations. And with health and healing, you know, a basic part of taking care of our bodies is about how we nourish it.
Right. Meg is saying, appreciate all you do for me, Sharon, helping me edit my articles.
Oh, Meg. We love you, Meg.
Yeah. And Meg is one of our writers as well. And she writes Discovering Infinite Grace. And
she's amazing. Just amazing.
That last one, she didn't write one in January because Meg writes every other month. Her December issue article. Was it Finding Ebenezer? Is that the one? Wasn't that the title? Wasn't that the title? Finding Ebenezer. Yeah, that was a great article.
It was. I really liked that one.
Loved that one. Of course, I'm partial. And I also get to see all the articles multiple times before the magazine actually comes out published. And I have to say, on publishing day, I don't look at it.
Really?
No, I don't. I try to publish in the morning as much as I can, and then I take the afternoon and do other things like, laundry and that kind of stuff, because nothing's gotten really done for 3 days, right? Or 4 days. And usually by the 12th, I'll sit down with the digital from Apple on my iPad, and I'll sit down and I'll look through it and reread the articles and try not to be too critical about me. Oh, I missed that. I'll have to change that next time. And then I get to see it again because I order the print magazine as well.
Oh, nice.
And so when that comes in, because it takes about 10 days to get that once I order it, and I get to look at the print magazine and look at the articles from that perspective, because it's laid out just slightly different. And so I get to look at it from that perspective. So, yeah. Can you tell I like what I do?
Yes, and that's good.
Yeah, and Meg says it was chasing Ebenezer. I had you finding him, but you were chasing Ebenezer. It was a good article. Thank you, Meg, for that, because I liked it a lot. Yeah. All right, so thank you for everybody for joining Sharon and I tonight to talk about her brand new column, Nourishing Body and Soul, and her next article that comes out in the February issue, which is published on February 10th, and so that's coming up.
Yay.
And thank you, Sharon, for taking some time out of your evening to be with us. And
absolutely. My pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Yeah. We look forward to seeing more recipes and more information about the food that we take into our bodies. And how do we nourish our body and soul?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more. So have a good rest of the evening, everyone, and we'll see you back here next week for Star Nations Communications from Home, where it's the last Tuesday of the month, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, I'm either going to have Eddie Mullins on with me, depending on his teaching schedule, or I'm going to try something new. You guys going to have to come help me support it. Okay, so I've gotten a couple of emails, messages about meditations.
Ooh.
And Sharon has actually asked me about a meditation a long time ago that I never got to. And so I thought, okay, so maybe the last Tuesday of the month on this show will be dedicated to a meditation. So, you know, the ones that I used to teach, we'll do some shamanic journeying. We'll do some awakening illuminated heart meditations. So learning how to get into your heart, or know when you're in your heart. Because most of us are, most of the time, believe it or not. Most of us are in our hearts. So anyway, with that, you can join me next week and watch for the promos. You guys will know if Eddie's going to be on or if we're going to be doing meditations that night. So,
okay.
Yay. All right. Good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. Good night. Thank you.